Maple TA Lesson 11B, homework question number 11. Graph the following nonlinear system of equations and identify the two solutions. So the first one I have y equals 2 to the x. Because x is in the exponent, that tells me that this is an exponential function. So that leads me to the first answer, or first question. What type of function is the equation y equals 2 to the x? So I'm going to select that this is exponential. The next one says, what type of function is negative 7x plus 3y equals 3? This one I have an x and a y. X is to the first power, y is to the first power. Nothing's in the exponent, so this is a linear equation. The next one says, use the graph below to identify the two solutions of this nonlinear system of equations. Note all solutions to this problem are whole numbers, and none of the answers are decimals or fractions, which is nice and probably the case for most of your homework. So we're going to just try and be really specific as we graph this. So we're going to graph the first one, y equals 2 to the x. So I can use the information I know from graphing exponential functions because I don't have anything over here being added or subtracted. That tells me that I have a horizontal asymptote at x equals 0. So the x-axis right here will be the asymptote. Now I can find the y-intercept by taking a plus c, or since I don't like memorizing that, I think it's kind of silly, we can always find an y-intercept whenever x equals 0. So I'm just going to put 0 into the equation instead of trying to memorize a plus c, which was in the last test. If you would like to if you prefer that way, you can go ahead and do that, but I'm just going to put 0 in because that's consistent for all equations. 0 into the exponent gives me 2 to the 0. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to graph the y-intercept at 1. And we're going to select that we're going to graph this exponential function first. It crosses here at 1. Now those of you who are going to do a plus c, you can see that there isn't a c here, so we're going to be adding 0 to the a. And out in front here there isn't anything, so some of you might be tempted to say, oh, it means that it's 0 then. But if a were 0, 0 times 2 or anything would also be 0, so this whole thing would be 0. So that means that I have a 1 out in front. 1 times 2 is going to be 2, so, or 2 to the x. So it's going to be 1 plus the c is 0, which makes 1. So either way you go through it, we'll still get the y-intercept at 1. Now I think we should find another point, and since 1 is nice, I'm going to throw a 1 in for x. 1, that gives me 2 to the first power, or 2 being raised to the 1, which is 2. So I'm going to come over, x being 1, go up 1, 2, gives me another point here of 2, and I'm going to try and be very specific. And then I need to, again, show where the horizontal asymptote is. So it's down here at y, or x equals 0, or y equals 0, the x-axis right there. Okay, so then I'm going to go through and graph the line. Here, I'm going to go ahead and change that to slope-intercept form, which makes it easier to graph by bringing it over here and doing some calculations. Again, I need y to be alone on the left-hand side, so I'm going to add 7x to both, x to both sides to keep it balanced. Add 7x. Negative 7x plus 7x is 0, so it's gone on the left, and I'm only left with 3y. And then I have a positive 3 and a positive 7x, equals. And because slope-intercept form has the x first, because that's the slope, I'm going to bring it out front and add the 3 at the end. And then I'm going to continue solving by y, or solving for y, by dividing everything by 3 so I can get the y all by itself. And that means every single term divided by 3. On the left-hand side, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times y is y, or you can just think of them canceling each other out. Y equals 7/3 x, and then 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, so that tells me that I can find the y-intercept at positive 1, which is really nice because this is also where the our exponential function is graphed. So I have it at 1. And then from here, I'm going to move up 7 and over 3, rise over run. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then over 3, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. It looks like it intersects exactly right there too. So that tells us our two solutions. And we can come over here. It says list the solution with the smallest x value first. This is the x-axis, and the smaller values are on the left. So the smallest is right here, and that tells me that x is 0 and y is 1. So our intercept is x equals 0 and y equals 1. And then our next one is right up here where they both intersect at +3, +8. Again, I got as close as I could on Maple TA, so it's not showing that exactly as what it is, but it is 3 and 8, 3 and 8, and I think that was the last of it, and we can have our green check marks to verify, and that was all on this one.